Okay, there we go. We're good. We're live on YouTube. 1 hour later. You know what I'm learning from these reviews, though? Is... this game's going to take way too much work. I think that's... It's gonna be a lot. Maybe a little too much. Unless we're like very explicit about our marketing. But then at that, like, I don't know. Think, what if it works and not what if it doesn't work? I'm more so thinking, how can we make it work without, you know, having to put in 5 million things into the game? I definitely don't want like equipment. I think that just adds way more like stuff the player is focusing on. I think I'd rather like a perk or rune tree that you can like upgrade, and then like doing the item passive stuff. New game time. I do have a game idea in my back pocket that I might work on off stream, and maybe one of these days you guys will see it. Zombie game time? No, I'm still gonna work on this. But I think reading these reviews, we can see that people really like look for a lot. Of course, you know, that's always the case, but seems like a good game, but too bare bones still. That's crazy considering the amount of fucking shits in this game. Giving a thumbs up because I see passion in it. I can see something bigger. Dungeon-based extractions and progression. I think you should play the game before you're like, this game is a lot. I'm like, just from looking at the videos, it has a lot of like shit, like scope. Like there's a lot of scope in it. Like equipment on its own. Like I would not, honestly, I don't want the player having to deal with this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'd want the player to have to deal with shit like this, like dealing with items and whatnot. Yeah, also the UI is just not very good. But I don't know if the UI being shit is like a contributor to like why people aren't like vibing with it. You know, it's missing a bit of visual sauce. I'll admit, it's missing a bit of visual sauce. it's missing a little bit of visual sauce. The visuals are missing a little bit of sauce. We got a T-posing skeleton here. You know, it's not exactly the most or sorry, not T-posing, A-posing. I don't know. I guess it's a good case study nonetheless, right? Because it's kind of within a similar realm of what I'm not really, but kind of going for. Not really, but kinda, but not really. But kinda. You could totally do far less, but more tight, and it'll feel like more. Yeah, I think by like having more depth in the combat, I think that is more impactful than, oh, hey, you can choose different equipment to pick up and shit like that. Yeah. But then the question is how do we enable, how do we put that in? I think my main concern is we don't have a parry, we don't have a block. That being said, well, Suit for Hire did have a counter, actually. It did have a parry. God, I gotta let me actually take a look at Ryder, and maybe there is a setting that can stop it from re-importing the starter content every fucking time we open the project. I think it would be at the top here. Maybe here. Aha, insert pack. God, this fucking sucks. This sucks, dude. Add packs equals false. If I turn that to false, is it going to completely remove the starter content, or it's just not going to import it again? So let's go. Explosion. Every time I change the sound class to be like the proper sound effects class, it keeps re-importing on top of itself and overriding itself, and then we end up having a sound effect that's like really loud. Bad multiplayer, it'd be okay, but as a single player game, people probably expect more. I'm definitely not doing multiplayer for this game, especially considering the type of stuff that I want to put in, like physics-based stuff, like enemies being able to get tossed around and whatever. Explosion Q. Okay, there we go. That fixed it. Good riddance. Yeah, I'm wondering, do we make it so the secondary weapon, the ranged weapon, right now, to activate it, you hold right click and it whips out the bow, right? So the idea is like mixing ranged combat with the melee combat as much as we can. But then by doing that, we basically don't have a block button. And most people would traditionally think the block button would be like your right click or whatever. Right? And a lot more of it ends up being like... The thing is, I don't know if I want to make it so the combat makes it so it's like you're... Instead of you having... I don't know if I want to make it so we have two weapons and you're context switching constantly between them. But not having a block... I guess it really depends on the type of game, right? If our character is too, like, is slow enough where blocking actually matters, then we can probably go into that and add blocking in. We were thinking like the blocking would be like a different secondary weapon kind of thing, but I don't know. We have the interact button could be used as a parry. That could always be used as a parry. I gotta make it so you can't spam this. I'm not too concerned about that right now, though. Let's make it so when you attack, we launch the player forward a little bit. We would want to do that at the very beginning of the sword attack, though. Which would probably be right here, the sword swing notify. I guess we could do it in here. The hell? Why was that not connected to the return node? Her? Let's try this a little bit. Uh-oh, that's on tick. Whoa! That's not what we want. Mm-mm. Not good. No, not good. Doing first person for a game that could be third person controlled? I'm not going to answer that. Think about what you just said. It feels pretty good. A little bit of launch forward. Literally, you could say that about anything, any game. Why is Call of Duty first person? It could be third person. Why is The Division third person? It could be first person. Why is Diablo top down when it could be third person? Why penis small when it could be big? No, I don't know what the point of that. COD does have third person? What the hell? They're doing everything. Yeah, but to be fair, for them it's easier because they're doing multiplayer already, so they already have a third person character model. I don't have it. This is my fucking character model, man. I don't want to animate. Have you seen the animations that we've done for this shit? Okay, the launch forward feels pretty good. I do like the launch forward. Kind of. I kind of like it. I wouldn't mind it being over a period of time. I wouldn't mind it being over a period of time, though, rather than like a launch. That I'm not like too fond of. Okay, question. What if we make it so you can float while you're attacking? Hold on, I'm cooking. Hold on. Yeah, the problem is I don't know if I want the blocking to be associated with another button, because then, yeah, the bow ends up becoming a secondary weapon that you have to switch to, and then that becomes just another button that we have to press, or we completely remove the concept of the bow. But then if we have enemies that are out of range, that we still want that ranged weapon to essentially solve the issue of multi-enemy kind of, you know, having different types of enemy types. That becomes the problem there. I do kind of like the launch forward, though. It's kind of... Although, I don't know if it's the Z override, but... Oh, it is the Z override. I don't want the light attack to have this much impact, though, and I believe we have a strength value here. So 0 could be like 300, whereas the strong attack is 800. And that could maybe be like a very temporary way to launch our character forward. It feels pretty good. I'm trying to think. I'm thinking of something really stupid. If you hit an enemy and we do the hit stop, launch forward should only be for heavy attacks. I can agree with that. Let's tone it down a shit ton. I wonder, because there's an XY override, does that override our movement altogether? No. Okay. We just have a little step forward, which I think is fun. I just don't like how much we fly, because... How you doing, Golden? I think the thing is, if we want a block attack, it has to heavily depend on how we do the enemies. Right? If we do the enemies where the combat, like, obviously the goal is to make it so the combat is methodical to an extent. Blocking could, well, there's multiple things here. Blocking could be seen as a cancel button. So if you're about to commit to an attack, but you need to get out of there, the block could be almost like a cancel. Now, of course, you can always just dash away, right? But, yeah. I just don't know if I want to replace the secondary weapon. I like the fact that you can quickly, like, whip out your secondary and use it, like... It's very suit for hire pilled. They really do be suit for hire pilled. What if we, God, I don't want to increase this. Because if we increase that, this character might launch way farther. I don't know if launch character is the way to go here. I'm almost thinking we use our gameplay ability, actually, that uses root motion. This thing, the launch character. I'm thinking we maybe use this on the player to move them forward. That might be what we want to do. Yeah. That might be what we want to do instead. Yep. Also, when I start using the context handle, I'm gonna make a struct for all of these, so that I can just modify this shit through the context handle, because this sucks. This sucks. Anytime we launch a character, we're creating an object for them that has all the data inside of it, and then we just send that object and then destroy it when we don't need it anymore. Not good. Let's see if we can use that. I don't know if we have that set up here. I think we only have it set up on the enemies right now. So let's see. Isn't there a component for skeletal physics interactions? Are you talking about the physical animation? We use it a little bit. It's very subtle. I don't think, what's the timer? How much time does it play? 0.25 seconds. So you can see right here, we have this kind of thing. Like, I could increase this. I could do 0.4. And then we could do 0.4, right? And then we can see the physics a lot longer. It's not too bad. Like, honestly, it doesn't look horrible. Increasing the time isn't like the worst thing ever. And then once we add a little bit more stuff to it, you should try the new Physical Anim plugin. I've never heard of that. What is that? Yeah, I know, yeah. I just, at the time, I literally did not know how to send that information, so I used an object instead. Ideally, if I do end up still using this, the root motion constant force thing, I would probably do it completely different, obviously. Yeah. It's called physics control. Do you have a video or like some documentation on it, Louis? Also, is the music too loud, guys? I feel like it's a little loud. Let's see if we can apply this launch character stuff to our player character. Let me just see where the fuck I am. Begin dematerialize. Launch enemy character. So you can hear. We don't even have a strength curve. We should have a strength curve, because that would help a lot more. You see, right now the duration is 0.2 seconds. What if we do 0.5? Because we'll notice that change up. Oh, it's because the amount is the strength is very low when we're using that node. I lowered the amount of launching because I just didn't like how much enemies get like tossed around, because it looked more like we were hitting them with a blunt weapon. But let's try reintroducing that a little bit. Of course, I think we're gonna have to mix in some actual animations of like them getting hit, like a directional hit. I don't think we can just rely on physics for that. I think we're gonna have to probably do a little bit more than that. You know what I mean? It kind of looks more like you're hitting them with a blunt weapon rather than a sword that's like slicing through them. Now, of course, it does look like they're sliding around, so obviously it looks a little silly. So that doesn't help either. But I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I like it. Like, it's not horrible, but it's also not great either. It's not, it ain't horrible, but it's also not great. Let's see though. Let's see if we can maybe let's put this in here. We're gonna call this launch player character. We're gonna expose more variables here, like duration. Additionally, another thing that we do is we have to give the launch character ability to our player character. I found this video for physics and control, not a lot in it. It was 2 years ago. So, okay, hold on, let's see. UE5 physics control. It's in experimental. It says the description is actor that holds a physics control component, which is then used to apply controls / body modifiers to other actors from outside, and a physics control initialization provides the ability to create those controls automatically. Okay, we got a bunch of structs here. I want to see what kind of functions provides. It seems like it's just a maybe fancier. You know what? I think I did hear of physics control before. I think it's like a slightly fancier what the slightly fancier what's the word I'm looking for? Physical physical component. What the fuck is it called? Physical animation. Oh my god, dude. I'm going crazy. Yeah. Interesting. Right now, what we're doing is we're using root motion, essentially, and physical animation. That's 2 years ago, so it's not a very good video. Where is there no videos on this thing? Here's a video, and it's in the learning section. Even though I feel like everyone's using the learning section to just spread their YouTube videos now. Interesting. I don't know if, like, I don't really know how I could utilize this. I think that's my problem right now. I don't really know to what extent I could utilize this. Yeah. Got a new Funko Pop? Which one? So launch character uses off of a different ability, so we shouldn't see that ability on our bar. Okay, good. Now, let's see if we can launch our character instead of this. So we'll do launch player character. This will be the impulse, and then the strength will be 100, 800. That might be too big, by the way. That might be a little too much. You know what? Unironically, that already looks like... That already looks pretty good. The problem is, because it's root motion, it is completely taking over our character. Like, we lose all control over our character movement. Which I'm not too fond of. And if I remember correctly, I actually do something somewhere to stop that from happening. Oh, ignore root motion. Why are we ignoring root motion? I see an is additive. Is additive something... Hold on. Oh. Oh, oh. Oh, there we go. Is additive. So it's adding on top. God, gas is so fucking cool. It's got so many good nodes for like all this root motion stuff. Hold on. Is this actually using the launch character? It is. Okay, I only have one problem. It's making our character fly when we jump. Maybe we don't care. It feels pretty good though. I don't know about you guys, but it feels pretty good. That's like a nice feeling. We would maybe change the strength curve to be like an actual curve rather than a constant force. But clamp velocity on finish. Maybe that could come in handy. Let me try toning that down. If I do 200, what happens? Maybe we check if the player is in midair, and if they are in midair, then we reduce the amount of strength that it would change. I don't know what this clamp velocity on finish is doing. There's a set velocity on finish mode. I think if we set that to 2, it will use this. Right now, it's probably not doing anything. Ah. You see that? Ah, I see. I see. Okay. That actually helps us, because right now we're like launching our character, which is cool. Very cool. But we're going too far. I want it to be more like we're on the ground. Okay, this is cool. All right, I like this. The launch forward feels very good, because then it gives a bit more price to you doing the attack, and it also kind of reduces the amount of distance that you are from the enemy. Let's reduce the distance though, and let's increase a little bit of the distance with the light attack. I'm down to use that a little bit, because then it kind of feels like you're doing an attack. And you can hold W to push it further, or hold S and you kind of resist it. You resist the push a little bit, which I think is kind of a cool element. Oh, cool. That's cool. All right, okay. Okay, cool. I like that. I could see the duration being different per strength, though. So I'm curious if we do 0.3. Never knew that node existed? Dude, I'm telling you, when I started looking into gameplay ability system, this is what actually really got me into gameplay ability system. It's the fact that they have internal systems that allow you to modify root motion without you having to do the most hackiest thing ever. This is what actually got me into gameplay ability system, is the fact that they have built-in things for root motion in it. It's crazy. I don't know why. I really don't know why we don't have this in like the core, you know what I mean? Tom from Tom and Jerry, I love that, dude. Send a picture in the Discord if you want to, Golden. I'd love to see that. Dude, I love Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry's great. When I was a kid, I had Tom and Jerry like pillowcase and cover. That was like, my mother got me that when I was younger, and Tom and Jerry was like, when that came on the TV, I was always watching Tom and Jerry, like goated cartoon. Yeah, I don't know why the root motion stuff is not a part of like core, like the core stuff. I really don't know. Okay, so now what I'm curious is strength over time. If we can apply that to a curve. Also, what I'm curious about is that a 0 to 1 value for the strength over time? I would assume it is, right? And then the duration, it multiplies the actual curve duration. Okay, hold on. Curve float object. Access none, trying to read property in launch character data. Wait, hold on, what? I see, there's an anim instance node here. But it's getting none for some reason. Even though I'm literally feeding it the anim instance right here. Is that every time I'm swinging? Is there something additional I'm doing in here with launch character? I think there is. Like, I don't know what that tag is doing. I actually don't know what that tag is doing. I don't know what that tag is doing. Can I search it? Impulse? It's sending the data because we're clearly going in the right direction. So it's just not giving the anim instance. Just not sending the anim instance. Oh, I just remembered. We're not using mesh. We're using first person mesh. Okay, yeah, all right. All right. Whoopsies. Oopsie daisy. I actually don't know if I like that though. Wait, hold on. What difference did that make? What do you mean? What error, man? Just put the mesh in the bag, man. Just put... Wait, where's the mesh? Control Z and everything breaks. I think that did actually make a difference. Fixing it made a difference, and I don't like it. So I actually think we're not gonna use that. Am I crazy? That it made... Did it make a difference? I can't tell. I can't. Let's just make the curve. Just put the curve in the bag. Whatever. Just put the curve in the bag. We'll make it in here. We should be moving that stuff in here anyways. Miscellaneous curve. Placebo effect, actually real though. Curve float attack 1. Launch attack 0-1 because we might have multiple. I don't know what the fuck this is. Which add a key at 0 and then let's add another key at 1. And then we'll put an internal key here. 1 should be, I would assume, the max strength. And we probably want that at like 0.2. And then let's go ahead and curve that. Actually, maybe 0.3. We probably want the peak of the movement to be in the middle. And let's see what that looks like for us. What kind of difference will that make? That feels pretty good. It makes the weapon feel like there's more weight behind it because it kind of feels like we're actually like stepping into it. It updated on its own despite me telling it not to. Yeah, dude, Windows is really annoying in that respect. They will just update shit anyways, even if you tell it not to. It's got to be the most annoying thing ever. Microsoft, I think, yeah. It's vital you get this feeling right. Listen, man, I'm working on it. It does feel like, though, because we did that, obviously because we did that, what ends up happening is that we are launching ourselves a lot less because obviously there's less movement. So what I might do is I'm going to increase the amount here. It's going to go up faster and it's going to release slower, so we have more launch occurring. That also means we can maybe increase the duration of this. So for a strong attack, let's try 0.35, and then for the light attack, we could do 0.25. How far do we go? Pretty far. I don't think we need to go too far. Windows 7 was so good, How the Mighty Have Fallen. Yeah. Does, let's try something. 0, 3. If I change direction while attacking, oh, interesting, it still continues it. Which I think is good. It continues in the direction that you went in. Which is what we want. I think what's also going to be really cool is combo attacks. I think that'll be pretty sick. Is different types of animations, I think will add a lot of sauce. You know what this also means? We can make it so the punch and kick works off of the launch player character, which is great. And that will work a lot better than whatever the fuck we have right now. whatever it's doing, I don't like what it's doing. Attack, we do a shake, we do a trace, and then we do launch character. So instead, we're going to do launch player character, which is our better version. I'm actually going to... Actually, hold on. I want to bring this back because I want that. There we go. Launch player character. So we can do a duration of 0.15 for the kick because it's pretty quick. And let's do a strength of 600. Ideally, we change this value based off of like the strength of the kick. I think we are reading that here. Yeah. The elapsed seconds. Okay. So we can always change that later, which is good. Let's see what the kick looks like now. Okay. Way longer strength, longer duration, and then let's also bring in this. Get over here. Ooh. Oh, hey, look at that. Great. You're doing the thing that I don't want you to do. There we go. So this is our timer, 0.1 to 0.65. So what we'll do is maybe we change the duration. So if you do a light attack, we'll do 0.2. But if you do a strong kick, maybe we do like 0.35. So that would mean you'd go farther, in theory. The launch is happening way too late. I don't know if you guys noticed that. It's happening way later than what I would like. I would prefer it to occur earlier. So I'm actually going to create a new pin called launch, I think. And we're going to see if we can Where's my character's legs? There we go. Now I can see it. The launch, I think, should happen right around here. Maybe even earlier. Add notify. Montage notify. We're going to rename this to launch. So that's 0.3. Let's do 0.26 because then that's 10, 0.10 seconds. And that could be 0.20. So that kind of creates our curve. That, because when we made our curve, we probably want the apex to be like right here. So that's pretty important. I'm gonna delete that. Actually, no, I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna hold on, and then delete it, and then we're gonna put launch over here instead. Animation work has put chat to sleep. Chat, wake up! Wake up! Wake up! I don't know how the lyrics go. To me, it just sounds like he's saying a lot of words. It's sick, though. I don't know if you've seen this, but it's a pretty good read. Random notifies. What you got over here? A lot of modern developers now decry this adage because of notifies. They think it's okay to have montages drive gameplay. They think it's the exception. It's not. Queue notifies can be dumped if there's too much going on. This happens reasonably often. A lot of people already know this. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, like notifies are not like the most reliable. They can get pretty fucky. You just have to be careful with it. You just have to be very careful with it. So what, they made a different montage system? Yeah, yeah. Yeah. That's a good consideration. I think for me, the only time I care about if a notify is dodged is if it's a hit like a hit notify that impacts gameplay. Like the only one that we do that here are things like these, like attack, for example. So yeah. I'm not like 100% concerned about it right now, though. How I delta time, I mean, notify gets skipped because animation is not sufficiently relevant on the next update. This could be like a potential reason as to why some hits get eaten in Suit for Hire. Like it could very well be the reason as to when shit goes bad. Seems to be a pretty annoying issue, definitely, because Unreal pushes this as a way to do shit. The thing is, Unreal, when they push these things, they do it in a video that's usually meant for beginners. You know, I don't want to be mean, but most of the times when they make videos, it's not as like, this is, you know, the industry standard. But no, I agree. There should be a way to reliably trigger notifies. So what is their plugin doing? You said it just adds your notify to a timer? The alternative is branching point notifies. However, when 2 or more branching point notify triggers on the same frame, only one will trigger. KMP uses timers to trigger notifies when you play a montage or change montage sections. So is this like a completely different montage system, or is this just a different notify? Like, instead of it being a whole ass different system, it'd be like you would just add a different notify that's like right here, and that would be that one. It grabs your existing notifies. Oh. Oh, okay. I see. Interesting. I'll keep it open. My only worry about using plugins like supports UE 5.4 plus. That's interesting. I'll keep it open. I'll keep it open. It is definitely something Unreal should maybe cover, though. I don't like using plugins that don't get updated and they can't update the engine. You can still update the engine. There's just a chance that the plugin becomes out of date, especially if it's like injecting itself into specific like features, and then those features are adjusted, and then that gets, you know, then it gets a little fucky. There we go. That feels better because now we're calling the charge a lot sooner. Wait, can we launch ourselves up? Oh no, we can't. I also think maybe that's a little too much. 0.3 duration in Zen. The trace distance is currently only 160. Another map range clamped. 160. When we're doing a strong attack, let's increase the distance to avoid any sort of fuckery. I think that'd be a good idea. Okay, that feels that's feeling pretty good. Just that little bit of like movement changes, I think feels really good. I wish Epic would just make different Unreal Engines, one for gaming, one for motion effects, one for architecture, and stop bloating the engine. It's not going to happen. I think the best they can do is separate a lot of features into plugins, but they are creating a lot of dependency issues. Like, for example, yesterday we had that issue with that stupid... What's that... what was that plugin called? Interchange? Interchange. The new importer that's like really not meant for like it is not necessary for games whatsoever, is required for Fab, and on top of that is also required for some reason mesh painting. So if you disable interchange, you have to then disable all those other things for some stupid silly reason. So I think they should just make it so any features that are like a different type of industry should be plugin based, and then they can do the same to the gaming stuff, maybe. I think that's the big problem with the Unreal Engine though, is like they're trying to do so many different things all at once. But that, I think that's their goal. They want all of the different industries to almost kind of become blended. You know, they want the film industry to have like, you know, they want to create cinematic experiences and whatnot, and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know, man. I don't care for it. I'm able to ignore it in some respects, but UE5 does make it a bit harder. Because it's kind of like wedged in a little bit. Yeah, I don't really have like the highest of hopes for UE6. Whatever the hell that means. Okay. One problem we have is the hit stop doesn't actually stop where it hits. It, you can continue like moving your camera. I had an idea in my head. It's a crazy, really stupid idea. But I'd be curious how it looks. If we freeze the mesh in place or slow it down while the hit occurs. You see where I'm getting? You see where I'm getting at? Hold on, I want to see. Does this node make it so we... If I turn off all of these inheritance. No, I literally just can't move, which makes sense because we're using this with our camera. UE5 is still so new, UE6 won't come out for a long time, maybe. I don't know, man. Tim Sweeney literally has been like talking about UE6 already, which in my opinion is kind of like baffling to me, but of course I'm not a CEO. Well, technically I am, but I'm not like a CEO that makes billions of dollars. So maybe there's something to it that we just don't know, you know? I'm poor. I don't know. I guess the secret to making money is overpromising crazy shit. I don't know, who knows? I'm a broke ass CEO. Yeah, exactly. I don't like calling myself a CEO. I think that's, I don't know. I find it to be cringe. If you don't have like, I don't know, 6, maybe 8, 10 employees underneath you, or like other, you know, like a CTO and whatever the fuck. Like, I don't know. It just seems so. I live near Epic Games. I could go there and rough them up for you. Don't say that, Duck. What the hell? No. What? What the hell? No. What the hell? Guys, don't promote that. Laughs nervously. Don't promote that. It's not funny. There are some people that are crazy that would go to like a fucking office and do crazy shit. You're gonna do what that guy did to Emiru? What happened? I only briefly heard like someone assaulted her. Tried to like grab her face or something, try to give her a kiss or something. Bro, what the hell's wrong with Twitch? What the hell's wrong with you motherfuckers, dude? How is it that security didn't like catch that? Or you know, I don't know. Apparently I heard that they just wanted to give him a 30-day ban. I heard apparently they just wanted to give him a 30-day ban, and she had to like yell at them, or her manager had to yell at them to be like, are you fucking stupid? That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. What a stupid company. Holy shit. That's crazy. $30-day ban. Apparently now it's a perma ban, but you know, that should not have been the discussion. That should not have been the discussion. I think it's pretty obvious if someone is essentially sexually assaulted, like that should not have been the case where the company is like, what? Like what? Like that's the bare minimum. That's just the bare minimum. You know what I mean? No, it's definitely not just a Twitch thing. It's a lot more than that. Definitely. But I'm saying like the bare minimum is that that person gets permanently banned from the platform and from everything. Am I allowed to ask a simple question for help here? It depends. What's the question? You might be shot. Just be careful. What's the question? Yes, but keep your expectations low. This guy's a bit, listen, what? After this stream, I'm eating my overnight oats. That was not overnight because I forgot to make my overnight oats yesterday. So it's actually lunch oats. It's actually over morning oats. And by over morning, I mean like over afternoon because I don't wake up that early these days, but I should. I will be. Copium? Over easy oats. Over afternoon. Over noon oats. What was I looking at? Right, our kick. We need to do the same thing to the punch as well. Also, I don't know why they're being launched so far. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Por qué? Oh, they just have a basic value of 1,000. Ooh. Ooh. I find this issue often in a lot of the chores I watch. Whenever I want to use BP third person character to make the get is aiming or whatever, it never connects. Does that make sense? As BP third person character, what do you mean by as? Animation system? And as oh, as in like a get third person character, or you're doing like something like this? It's all contextual. It's all contextual, if that's what you're asking. So if you drag off of this, then we can get variables that are inside of here. If there's no variable in there, then you can't get is aiming, for example, right? But let's say I have this one, can slide, right? Let me actually go somewhere else. Let me go into our enemy. So if I type can slide, I'm not going to be able to find it. Right? Because it's context sensitive. If I turn off context sensitive here, then I can start seeing those values. But if you want to keep context sensitive, if you drag off of the pin where the context is found within there, and then I type can slide, then I'll see those values. And then you can obviously turn off context sensitive. Sometimes what I would do is turn it off and then re-drag, because there's a bug where it's like it doesn't properly refresh. But that is like one case. It still doesn't make the new node with the pin. Compiled. If this isn't compiled, maybe recompile this. Sometimes restart the engine. It can get a bit fucky at times. Yeah, check if the variable's private. That's another case. And that will usually be here. Yeah. I had a bug yesterday where we literally could not find nodes. I had to copy paste this into the other thing. But that being said, I am using a lot of C++. Well, by a lot, I mean I'm using C++. I wouldn't say a lot. That's disingenuous. I don't want to say a lot. That's not real, but... Yeah, I would take some screenshots of it, Pun, and post it up on the Discord, because there's only so much we can do with like text. If you wanna try to get some help with it and see what might be going wrong. So could just be a little something that requires more explaining. Time for bed? Hey, rest well. And hopefully you get that shit figured out. Hell yeah. Okie dokie. Oh yeah, I wanted to change the strength of the kick. All right, time to do another map range clamped. Yep, there's definitely a way better way of doing this. Can I read the elapsed second? Well, this only gives us a Boolean, which doesn't make any sense because there's so many more values inside of here. Bouillon? No, not a bouillon. It's not a bouillon. Anyways, it's time to create my subway network. My blueprint subway network. This one's going all the way to King Street. So the strength here will be 500, and then top kick will be 800. Actually, let's do 300. So if we do a light kick, launches them away. If we do a heavy kick, it does kind of feel like the launch character forward does feel a little bit weird, but I think once you get used to it, it feels good. And it's subtle enough that it's not like really in your face. Like it definitely does make a difference, don't get me wrong. And if you want to move forward, it like really pushes you forward, so it's like kind of allowing you to do more of what you want. And if you hold back, you can see like it only does a slight movement forward. So honestly, it's good. I think it's good. See you later, idiot. Home run. I don't know why that's happening, by the way. Okay. That feels good, I think. I do want to make the enemies ragdolled. I maybe we'll fuck around with that today and get a setup for that going. How is that set up though? Like, how do we make a character like fall over? You know what I mean? Do we set physics enabled on their capsule? I wonder how, I wonder a game like Helldivers, I wonder how Helldivers does their active ragdoll system for like their player models. I'll keep that open. I'll keep that open. Keep that open. What am I looking for? Oh, let's see if maybe anybody's approached that. Maybe we can learn a couple things. UE5, active ragdoll. Here's my problem. I don't know if that's the actual terminology for this. I'm just going to use that as the terminology. Is active ragdoll. I think it is active ragdoll. Right? Is active ragdoll? I think that is the terminology that we want to use. Nope, this person's not. Like, I guess it's active ragdoll, but that's not the active ragdoll I'm looking for. What the shit is that, man? Did you guys see that? What was that? What was that? What was that, man? No, this isn't active ragdoll. Stupid. God, these tutorial creators, man, they don't know what they're doing. Dude, this looks like active ragdoll. And then being able to stand back up and stuff. Are they like just basically making it so their entire character model just ragdolls? Urgh. I just want to see the basis of what they're doing. So they're setting up a physics asset. That's okay. Don't care about that right now. Well, actually, that's not true. I might have to care about that. It's possible that they're like maybe like setting some stuff to like kinematic or something. You know what I mean? I searched for a curved HUD material tutorial and like 5 different creators had the exact same process. Yeah. Tutorial creators on YouTube are kind of like, they're like cockroaches. Like one guy makes a tutorial and then everyone literally copies it. And they probably, some of them probably don't even fucking know what they're actually making a tutorial about. It's like cockroaches. Maybe not cockroaches, but you know. See right here, how is he making his pelvis move around like that? How is he making the entire body like move around like that? That's kind of funny looking. Boing. I think it's maybe the constraints, the way he set up the constraints. It's simulating the bone behavior. Like, listen, man, you don't need to yell, okay? Quiet down. Jesus, man. It's simulating the bones and yeah, we get it, man. All right, come on. Relax. I think, yeah. He has a bunch of like motors and stuff, which is not bad to set up. He did it right in front of your eyes? No, he didn't, asshole. Hold on. He set up the angular limits, which is regular, but the thing is, I know he's simulating it. That's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, it's keeping the form. Which to me means that he's setting up some... Hold on, man. Don't talk to me. I don't want to hear it. Watch the playtest literally just have one enemy, which is the grunt. Damn, this is a really awful... I gotta admit, this is a pretty awful physics asset. I ain't gonna lie, right now. This is pretty bad. See, what I'm wondering is, it seems almost like he set up velocity targets. I think that's what he did. Or position targets. Or no, he hasn't. Let me see. What is he got set up here? Angular motor twist and swing. Yeah. See, that's what he did. That's what he did on all of his constraints. Which I don't know if I can actually like do that on every constraint. And then when I simulate, I think what's essentially happening. Let's see here. Hold on. Let me see if he's changing any values. Let me also go upper leg right, upper leg left. Let's select all of these. We're going to twist and swing. And then let's simulate. Can we possibly make it so the guy sort of stands up a little bit? That'd be interesting. Let's do it on his spine. Come on, man. Oh, I know, Ben. It's going to be a lot more complex. I know it. It'll definitely be... This is a... While it is a hook that I would like to work on, it's going to be a pretty... That's why I want to do it right now, is try to get some of this like physics stuff in right now. At least get like a basic form of it. So we can like kick enemies and kind of make them topple over and shit. And then hopefully make them topple over other enemies. Like that's kind of suit for hire, but going a little bit more... A lot more physics based. If possible. I always wonder what these physics type stuff does. If I set it to kinematic, what happens? Yeah, that's normal. Yeah, that seems about right. See, like... Uh-oh. Hey, stop that. Oh, shit. He just hit the ground so hard. I wouldn't mind. Like, can we somehow get some of that movement? Kind of kinematic, but not really? Because that could be interesting. But let me see. Hold on. Let's take a look at this again. What kind of stuff is he setting up? He's got the constraints. I want to see what he's doing in that window, if anything. I don't think he's doing anything. He definitely set kinematic on something. There's no way. Like, how is... like something... I don't know how he got his character to move to ragdoll like that. It's interesting. Even with the angular motors. Which I don't know if those are actually doing anything right now. In the simulation. All of these constraint motors stuff. Right. Maybe, do we have to set it up so it actually uses angular? I would assume it does, right? I don't know. I guess we'd have to set like the strength. Maybe it's like the strength or something needs to be like way higher for it to like do anything. Out of curiosity, let me try setting it to like 500. Let me try setting it to 5,000. Feel like it's doing something? I don't know. Is it? Let's try grabbing everything. And let's try... setting it all to 5,000 out of curiosity. I don't know if that actually changed all of them. Okay, I think we're getting somewhere. It's the strength. Let's try 500. I don't really like how he like snaps in half. I think that has something to do with some of these rotation values are a bit much. Like he just snapped in half. Brothers just snapped in half. Which one is that? Is that constraint right there? I want to say it's this one. The thing is, I want it to be 45, but I want it to be rotated. Can I rotate the constraint? I can. So there's more... wait, hold on. Is it the other direction? I think it's this direction. Brother. 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 That's not the one. Guys, that's not the one. We're looking at the wrong we're looking at the wrong one, clearly. Which one is causing him to snap in half like that? Also, I think one thing for certain, the arms, I think the constraints, we can lower the strength. I think I'm okay with his arms getting a little bit, you know, like, you know, a little bit like, It's just his spine, dude. Which one of these is the culprit? Is it the legs? Is it the leg constraints? Try locking them. No. What? What? There's no way it's this one, right? I swear it has to be this one. Let's try locking all of them. No, he still goes very limp. Is it the angular motor that's somehow no. I don't actually know which one of these constraints is causing the character to just like limp backwards like that. I'd like to reduce the amount that he could limp back like that, but I have no clue which one of these is doing that. Oh, hey, oh. Yeah, the weight we might want to modify as well. Where would we, mass scale, possibly? Let's do 1.5. Out of curiosity, with those edits that we already made, how does that actually modify the ragdoll here? And I wonder how much that modifies the physical animation. You can kind of tell. You can tell a little bit. I'm curious. So for the active ragdoll, though, what are the core? What's the infamous Rayman rig I've been hearing so much about? I don't know if we're gonna do it. I don't know if we're gonna do it. I don't know. Okay, so they are using physical animation. Componente. When they start the ragdoll, what's the movement mode that they're setting the player character to? None? Wait, no, there's no way they're setting it to none, right? I guess so. I guess that makes sense. Because they want it to all be physics-based from there. What this does mean, though, is this is not a blend system. So it's either ragdoll or no ragdoll. Whereas with some animations, I would like to do like almost a system where they're like not fully ragdoll, but they're kind of like tripping a little bit. So it's like if you kick one of them, maybe they might not fully ragdoll, but they just like stumble backwards or something. That'd be interesting to figure out a way of doing that procedurally rather than... In Suit for Hire's case, we just run it all off of like an animation. But I feel like that gets pretty rigid pretty quickly. It'd be interesting to figure out a way of doing it in a different way. So the problem is that the camera is not following it because the mesh separates itself from the capsule. I'm curious. How are they gonna make it so the capsule follows the mesh? Yeah, I know about Prismatica's tutorial as well. So he's doing a physical animation on the upper body, it seems. Spine 05, thigh. Oh no, these are the legs. The lower body. Okay. Set actual location during ragdoll. Interesting. So he's probably camera following. I see. So he's making the capsule follow the ragdoll. So it almost becomes an inverse. Right now, we are parented to the capsule. But when we start ragdolling, I guess what ends up happening is the mesh will separate itself from the capsule. So he is essentially doing the inverse when ragdolling. Now, in our case, we don't really care for our player character ragdolling, so we don't have to worry about that, but we will want the capsule to follow the enemy because we still want collision to be there to some extent. And also, when they stand up or whatever get up, they'll need to be able to do that too. So don't really worry about too much about the camera following, but we will want to follow the capsule. Okay, there's a lot of setup that we're gonna have to do, but that's fine. I do think this could be like a really fun feature or part of the game. Is making enemies stumble and being able to like launch enemies and stuff. I want to see something. We already increased the physical animation curve duration a lot more. What if we increase it further? Hey, what if we make it longer? Yeah, definitely. Spells making enemies stumble, I think would be really funny. Right now, the problem is that when they stumble, their legs don't move. So something we'll have to figure out is making it so when they stumble, they like actually like physically move while stumbling. What I'm concerned about, because we work off of root motion, does root motion apply the velocity to the enemy? I wanna see something really quickly, because that could be really important. Is seeing if their velocity is actually affected, because then we can read from that and just put that into their animation. Oh no, that's in the, oh shit, that's in the base enemy character. I don't want that to be in here. Get out of here. I need to put that in the... I need to put that in the dummy. The dummy. There we go. That way we only see one enemy. I think that is actually... So what we should be able to do... So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a ridiculous number right now. I'm going to change the duration to like 0.7. I want to see if that duration... Oh wait, never mind. That's the wrong thing. That's for me. I need it for the hit. I'm going to change that to 1. Okay, guys. We got something here. There's something here. Okay, there's something here, actually. That's actually really good for us. Because what that means is I can read from the velocity and I can give him like stepping animations in all directions once we have those. Right now, I think he just has, I believe he just has a forward walk, which looks really awful. So what I can do is give them multiple directions. Does he have his own custom? No, this is the Unreal Skeleton, right? Why is it his own? What is missing here? It's the Unreal Skeleton. Why is it its own skeleton? No, why is it his own skeleton? Oh, great. I'm going to have to animate all of my own. Oh, look at, oh, balls. Whatever. That's fine. Oh, that's, but whatever. Okay. That, it does mean though that we can give him stumbling, like walking stuff. Just use ALS. Okay, but I'm glad to see that modifying his root motion is actually modifying his velocity, which is fantastic for us. That's very good news. That's extremely good news. As a matter of fact. That's very good news for us. I think we have some really good directions to work off of here, actually. I kind of like the longer physical animation a little bit, but you can kind of tell he's freaking out a little bit. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Maybe it's a style choice. It's a style thing. It's a style thing. Yeah, right. All right. Home run. I also don't know why they're disappearing. It's almost like they have like their bounding boxes messed up. And they end up like disappearing on my screen for some reason. I don't know why. When stumbling, you could add a gambling mechanic for stunning. We could do some like really fun stuff there where it's like stunning an enemy could be like chance based, or maybe like punching them in the head or something. Urgh. Kindred, thank you for the raid, man. How are you doing? Make upgrades that can do that stuff? Definitely. I would love to do stuff like that. That would be in like the upgrade tree or the rune tree or whatever we end up doing there. And then we could have items that increase it as well. We need a backstab. That would imply that there's stealth, which maybe there might be, you know? If we go down the dark and darker path, that does mean that enemies will need some sort of perception system. Being able to strike the ground like that and make a flame wall could be kind of sick. That would be sick. Making it so hitting environment objects actually makes a difference. Nice progress. Thank you. We're getting somewhere. Figuring out figuring out the meat of the game. We're figuring out where the meat will be. Are those bullet holes? Yeah, we're gonna have to change those effects. Even being able to slice the legs, I think, would be really fun. We had that in the zombie prototype. But I think it'd be really cool being able to slice. I don't really know. The thing is, when we have elements like being able to slice limbs off of enemies and stuff, then I guess the question is, how many enemies are we going to have in a space? I think it's going to be a lot like Dark and Darker, where it's like max, maybe like 10 or 12 enemies in a space. I think I have a pumpkin patch to get to with the fam. Hey, enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. Have a good family time. Don't worry about raiding and running. Listen, what are you going to do? Sit here for an hour? I do want to see if we can make it so the hit stop is not just us freezing the animation a little bit, but we actually stop the arms in place for a period of time. I think that'd be really interesting. And I don't know if there's a way that we can remove this from the parent for a period of time. Yeah, I don't want to have too many enemies on screen. One, or too many enemies in a space. One, it's for game design purposes. I don't want to have like big hordes of enemies. The second thing is, yeah, also for performance. It's really like, I don't know how to put like large groups of enemies in a space, and maybe that's something for me to learn. Maybe it's a step for me to learn. I don't know, you know. Yeah. We do freeze the animation for a bit. So we have a hit stop. It's just, it doesn't stop in the actual position where the hit occurs. So if you're moving your mouse while going through the hit, you see it like, it doesn't actually like pause where it hit. Unless I am like just standing still. Then you could see where the hit occurs. It'd be interesting, kind of maybe like 50%, 70%, allowing the mesh to kind of interpolate and stay where it is. That could be interesting. That could be interesting without like freezing the camera. But that would mean we not only have a spring arm, which by the way, I don't know why we have a spring arm here, but we have not only would we have a spring arm here, we would also have a spring arm for the mesh. Ah, fuck it. Let's try it out. Hey. No, that's not what I want. Put the thing on the spring arm. Hold on. Wait, go back. Okay, did we change anything by doing that? Okay, no. Now, what if we put a rotation lag on this? Does our arms lag behind? Okay, so then... Okay, everybody calm down. Okay, everybody calm down. If we change the lag speed to be much slower... let me cook, sort of, maybe not, but you know, let's mess around with it. We only apply the rotation lag when we hit, and then have a delay. So in here, rotation lag, enable the rotation lag. The problem I have with this though is it's not going to interpolate. It's going to be instantaneous. And then when we reset the anim dilation, then we turn it off. It looks a bit weird, but not horrible. It's not horrible. It's, unless you're like just 100% rotating. It's, you know what? It's very subtle, actually. Maybe, unless we come across a huge bug, which we might. Yeah, you know, it might happen. Let's change the speed to like something really slow. Like we're talking 0.2. So you can kind of bug it out by like looking down, but the duration is so like low that you don't really see it happening that off. Like, Where'd he go? Okay. For the light attack, you can kind of tell that there's more of a hit stop as well. You know what? I kind of like it. So, wait, hold on. If I go like this, but then I react by going in the opposite direction, it looks a little bit weird. So if I do 500,000, I can spin through hordes of enemies with it. Technically, with this change, like you probably still could, but probably not as effectively because we have that little delay. Let's bring back a group of enemies because that will really be able to tell us like how this is looking. You know what? It's not horrible. Yeah, the only issue is the little bit of clipping that we're seeing. But we could always fix that. Like that's not a huge problem. Okay. You can imagine with like better sound effects, it could get even better. And like some better VFX. It's interesting. It's kind of funny. You know what? It's not horrible. Here's my problem with it. It's instant. So the instant it's done, the sword immediately comes back into place rather than interpolating. What if we... okay, what if we keep the rotation lag on at all times, but we slowly interpolate value up and down during hits? So that way, instead of the sword... So here's the problem. Like, we can slow it down. We can actually just do this. I'll do slow-mo 0.2. So when I do the hit, you're going to see it delays, but it instantly returns. Do you guys see that? It instantly returns back into place rather than like interpolating back into place. You guys see what I'm talking about? It's got some charm to it. It's got some charm to it. I think if it slowly interpolates back into place, I think that'll be good. Okay, I'm you know what? I'm liking this. It's got promise. Because you can see, like, when I hit this guy, it, like, delays it. I can, technically, in theory... like, move away. I think it needs a little bit of interpolation, and I think we're good. Okay. So instead of constantly turning it on and off, I wonder if we can just set the value. I don't know if we can. Like, I don't know if this will, I think what we have to do is do this on tick. We're gonna have to do this on tick, I think. because this does not actually like interpolate the way that we would perceive it to. Unfortunately. It's a very hacky way of doing it, but hey, whatever. We should also do this based off of different strengths. So it should be slower for... Yeah, we can always consider that. But we do need it to interpolate. So let's make a variable called desired arms rotation lag speed. Desired arms rotation lag speed. Not exactly the best name, but you know, at least we know what it is. So this is going to be the one that sets the value. And then in the event tick, I know someone's going to be, event tick. Shut up. You shouldn't use event tick. You shouldn't. Where the fuck I am? I don't know where I... right, okay, so we want to take the desired arm rotation length speed, and then we want to do an interp 2, I guess constant? F interp 2 constant? A constant interpolation? Or do we want a smooth interpolation? The problem is with smooth... Ah, fuck it. Current would be rotation lag speed. Oh, thank goodness we can do a get. Thank goodness there's a get for that. Oh my god, can you imagine? I'm liking this. I'm liking this. It makes the hit feel more more juicy. And then we can change the interp speed. I guess this would be, let's try 5 for now. Do I do C++ or pure Blueprint? There's a mix. I do a little mix. We got a little bit of C++. I do want to do more C++. Don't get me wrong. I should be doing this stuff in C++, but because we're in kind of prototyping stage, I kind of want to do really quick stuff. And once we kind of nail down what we want to do, then I can start like messing around with it a little bit more. I want to do a print string of this because I want to see how fast and how slow this is actually like. Oh shit, it interpolating to 0. We actually don't want an interpolation. Because zero is considered none. Oh, damn. Okay, let's do a speed of 25. And then when we want to turn it off, instead of 0, we're going to do like some really high number, like 500. Maybe that's too high. Let's do 100. These guys need to, like, they're losers. I can't. So the problem is the value's really fast. You know what? You know what we could do? Maybe when it hits, because it's so instant on the hit, maybe we instantly set it to 0.2, but then when it needs to return, then we can make it so we don't instantly set it. So on top of setting the desired speed, right here, we also actually set the value to it, so it instantly occurs. And then it'll interpolate back into place. So one way it's fast, but then returning will work kind of how we want it to. Let me try here. It's not horrible. It's not horrible. It's not, you know, not great either, I guess. Let me see 20. Is 20 slow? Do we see any rotation speed? No, no, no. 20's fine. So you can kind of look in the opposite direction. And it kind of looks weird. It looks interesting. You know what? Do you have to move the camera to move the sword? I don't get. I'm moving it to see like how much impact it's making. Slow down sensitivity. Do we want to do stuff like that? Where like we slow down the camera? We slow down the camera sensitivity? Like we can. Hey, I'm cool to do that. Like I'm cool to mess around with that. I'm cool to mess around with stuff like that. I wonder how annoying is that for a player? You know what I mean? Let's change this interpolation speed again. What I'm testing is like how it looks when the sword gets back into position. You can see sometimes I'm going through the sword slash and I actually don't even see the sword slash anymore because we've moved our camera too much. Alternatively, instead of freezing the camera, or not freeze the camera, like slowing down the camera, which you would see in a lot of the like games like Mordhau and whatnot. What if we slow down the crosshair? So the crosshair is the actual like indicator of where you're slicing. You know what I mean? You can see how like there's all these enemies. We don't see the sword anymore because it's trying to keep up. It looks cool. Especially with like groups of enemies. Okay, I want to try something really stupid. Hold on. What if there's movement lag? Oh yeah, that's not very good. Yeah, never mind. Don't listen to me. That's a bad idea. Really, really bad idea. Hey, don't listen to me. Everybody I think the rotation is way more than enough. We don't need more than that. I'm going to be curious to see how players feel about it. Obviously, when we fix the issue of like you seeing the inside of your body and whatever, no problem, right? Like, I don't care too much about that. We could fix a little bit of that in the material. We can make it so this is masked, and we have what's the node? We do have some camera shake. It's just very subtle. It's not a lot. There's a little bit of camera shake. I just don't want to do too much camera shake. You know what I mean? I don't like too much. I think we could do effects, like different effects that make it still feel like it's, you know, impactful. What's the... There's a really easy node for UE5 camera clipping material node. What is it called? There's a really simple node that you can use. Hold on, let's see if this is actually what it is. Listen, I'm not a... if there's one thing I would like to improve upon, definitely, is materials. I'm definitely not very good at materials. No, this is definitely not it, because we need a distance node. Is it just camera depth fade? I swear this is like something. Oh, right, we're doing an opacity mask, so I actually have to make it dithered. For some reason, I cannot zoom in to this anymore. I don't know what's going on. Oh yeah, I forgot. I made this two-sided. Okay, dither. It's up to 512. Let's do 128. Maybe 64. I don't know if that's the fade offset we would like, though. That might be too far of an offset. Yep. What is it currently? 24. Let's try 4. That's still too much. Is it because of the whole FOV system thing? I think it is. Let's try 1. 64 might also be too much as well for the fade length. Let's try 16. Oh, our hand disappears. But you can still kind of see the inside. Let's do 24 with a fade offset of 1.5. Have a lore reason for it and call it a day. Hey, listen, man, video game. If video game look cool, then what problem? Although you can look down while attacking. That may, you know, that might maybe little problem there. Maybe little problem. Okay, I still think it looks good. It's just, it would require a little bit of polish to make it look really... But I think it looks awesome. I think we can soften it for the light attack. So it's like, the heavy attack really makes it feel heavy. Whereas with the light attack, we probably adjust the actual values of how much we want to reduce the lag speed. Currently, it's set to 0.2. So let's find every instance of the set montage play rate. Sword hit scan. This, we're going to depend it on the strength. So for a light attack, it'll be like this. Otherwise, it's 0.2, I think is the number we used. Bollocks Pit soundtrack. I gotta buy that game. It looks fun. I've been playing too much Deadlock and it's been pissing me. I get very angry. I get so angry. I need something that's like, you know, a little bit more chill, you know, something a little bit more chill. Oh shit, the box trace attack is like really generic. I think this is also running in for like kicks. When we kick an enemy, it all right. Hey, sure. Punch? Sure. Why not? Screw it. Let's see how it looks. I tried Deadlock yesterday for the first time in a few months and instantly uninstalled. It's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. Let's try 0.5 for the kick, I'm curious. And then I need to see for the light attacks. Okay, light attacks, it still keeps it, but not as much. Whereas heavy attack is like, is heavy. I'm not sure if I vibe with the whole masking thing, though, on the material. After looking at it for a little bit. You know what I actually think we could do? I think we can just make it so the base color... I wonder if we can... this or wait, no, I think it's this or 0. That way, if you're closer up, it becomes dark. It should. Let's see if that actually... I don't know if camera depth fade actually modifies it for things beyond masked, but... So I made it so kicking also has that delay. The thing is the arm clipping is my main concern right now. Okay, maybe we do keep the masked effect, but maybe we reduce the offset a bunch. So it's like it really needs to like clip the character or the camera for it to matter. And maybe that's fine. Yeah, the heavy tech will be dealing more damage as well. Right now, it doesn't. Okay, hold on. I want to test something. Right now the interrupt speed is 4. Let's set it to 2. Because right now it's getting really quickly back up to 20. I don't know if I want the kick to have it. Let's try giving it like an extreme value, because then we can determine if I actually want it to be there. We can make it 0.1. I think it's just the clipping that I don't like. Yeah, I really don't... I don't think the kick needs it, honestly. I really don't... I don't think it's necessary. So we're going to set it to 20. Even the punch... I don't think really needs it. The punch is okay, I think, because we don't have too much clipping. Cool. All right. I think that feels pretty cool. Like just going through like I don't know how many times that's going to happen where you're like going through a bunch of enemies. But it's cool. And this is like without any modifying of the sound effects yet. That could definitely change a lot, is like sound effect changes. And then of course enemies stumbling will also help quite a bit too, I think. And you see this character swing a massive axe. Damn, that camera depth fade is not doing anything. Like, at all. I wonder if it's because we copy pasted it. That there's like this weird bug where certain nodes, when you copy paste them, it like doesn't do anything anymore. Oh, right. Yeah, we have to dither this. I forgot about that. Oops. So it's like literally doing nothing. It's almost acting as a clip. Okay, so we don't see it. Unless it's like really close up. We can also set a rotation limit, if I remember correctly, on the spring arm. Oh, that's for distance. Oh, shit. What the hell, man? Okay, well, I guess. Sure. I suppose. It's cool. It makes the impact feel like you're actually hitting an enemy. Like you're actually, like your sword is actually like going through things and there's a little bit of resistance. Which makes it feel less like a baseball bat now. Which I'm quite happy about. That was one concern I had. Obviously, we'll be able to tell if this is a good change or not based off of playtesters. Seeing what they say. Krim's anti-baseball. Bat. I'm also anti-baseball. Baseball's a boring sport. Okay, cool. Sport is a boring sport? What the hell? I did not, Reamer. Let me see. I did not. Isn't the Eclipse towards the end? Hold on. When you enter? Was it the blue barrel? I need to make that. I want to make the environment kills more consistent because I think that's such like a fun untapped element of the game. To be fair, a lot of the newer levels don't have that many like kickable props. That's like the problem because I was like noticing, oh, this mechanic could do a lot. It could be a much better. It could be done a lot better, but when it works, it's fun. I notice when it works, it's really fun. Like the Bench's Donut Sum? Yeah, it's the problem is when I start setting like these objects to physics based, it is not exactly the most performant thing for lighting. So it becomes, it's like a bit of a performance hog. Now, I'm sure there's ways I could probably optimize it, right? But yeah. Hey, listen, for a game that's not the prettiest visually, it still looks not bad. I think for the buildings, I definitely should make it so some of the windows have light and some of them don't. I think that could be a really good quality improvement here. But honestly, fuck the negative reviews. I think the game is good. I think for a first game release, it ain't bad. It's got its problems, but I'm proud of it. I'm still very proud of it. So Very cool. Dude, hell yeah. Good clip, man. Yeah, I want to make the physics kicking more prominent, but it's like, do I do that for the next game or do I, you know what I mean? Like I'll do improvements where I can, of course. Didn't know it was your first game release? Yeah, it is. I don't know why his full body is going like, you know, rather than his leg. There's got to be something in the physics animation setup. I really like the lag on the hit. I actually think, even though it's the most hacky implementation, it's actually like, it feels really good. I will be curious to see what people think about it when we start doing our first round of playtesting, though. That'll obviously be our and of course the other thing is, since we made this one element in the hit so prominent, it's possible that we reduce some of the impact it has as we add other VFX and other elements, right? I think when everything comes together, we can start like changing some of the numbers a little bit, so maybe they're not as like intense. And then of course, once we start dealing with actual enemies, then we can start messing around with that as well. So that, I think, will be another good like thing to play around with. Yeah, I also like the fact that you can like dash while doing the attack, and that like allows you to do more hits. It's almost like you can kind of plan out your attack a little bit more. And use velocity to your advantage. I think that is also a cool element. So I can start here, but then I can dash. So that, I think, goes even farther to doing some cool stuff. So like, let's see. If I go like this and I release, but then I go closer. I can almost do like a drive-by. Let me try to freeze these guys. I don't know why they get frozen, but... You know what? It actually works really well from a gameplay standpoint, because you could do a lot of really cool things with it. It's not like a detriment. It kind of allows you to do some interesting things. Cool. Home run! I never realized this was the part you removed, by the way. Yeah, Art Exhibit has a lot of like hidden areas. I think I saw the image you posted. AWS outage. AWS outage. I think I saw you talking about it though in this channel? Yeah. Yeah, this whole area I basically blocked off. I think I had an idea at some point where I was like, oh, what if we make multiple levels out of this one level? But then I was like, people are definitely going to look at that as like, oh, that's really cheap, you know, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, I ended up blocking it off because we ended up making the level more linear, I guess. It was too open, and I don't think that that boded well with the type of game design we were going for. I'm glad you're making good use of the photo mode, though. It makes me feel good about investing that time into it, because it's coming up with some fun stuff. Some fun stuff getting out there. Hell yeah. Wait, so if I hit someone and then try to use my bow, what happens? I know people don't like talking about money. Can I ask, did your game dev give you enough to live on for a while, like 6 months or something? Let's just say I'll be able to go full-time. For a while. I think. Depending on how much, you know, I end up spending on, you know, contractors and various other things. That will, you know, obviously change how much I can use that for my own living and then... and whatnot, right? But I'll definitely be able to go full-time for a good amount of time, I think. Until I want to maybe buy a house or something, then that might change things. Who knows? But hopefully by the time I want to buy a house, hopefully the second game is released and hopefully this does well, or whatever we end up releasing that's second. Whatever we would end up being. I'm okay with talking about money. I just don't like talking about how much I make. I am perfectly okay with talking about the business side of game development. I don't know why that's like such a taboo. I feel like that's like a taboo for some reason, is talking about, oh, business and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, I think the only thing I'm kind of like irked about is like the current trend on YouTube that's like talking about how to make the most viral, popular game or whatever is like, you know what I mean? That I think irks me a little bit, but talking about the business side of it and whatnot, I'm cool with that. I don't know why that's a taboo in the game dev space. It's like, oh, this creative thing that's about love, it should not be about business. I don't know. I think maybe maybe AAA burns people out or something. Maybe that's what it is. No, I still like Jonas. I don't know. I don't vibe with those videos very much. Like, the more recent ones talk about... I don't know. Maybe it's like... Maybe it's very clickbaity content that I just don't like, but... I like the one that he talks about hooks, and like how hook is not necessarily such a... static concept, or whatever. You can look at it in different ways, like the way to approach... designing a game, whatnot, like talking about the experience and whatever, rather than thinking about a gameplay hook being a mechanic or whatever. Shady Knight? Yeah, Shady Knight is on my inspiration list. Yeah, Shady Knight is definitely on my inspiration list. The Shady Knight dev somehow found one of my my game dev stream VODs and commented on it. He's like, melee weapon being primary? Hell yeah! So that was cool. Yeah, I think once we change up the sound effects. So there is technically a game design difference between the strong attack and the light attack. Now, of course, with the strong attack, we still need to add those ending frames. And once we add those ending frames, the strong attack has a little bit more of a price to pay using it, rather than being able to quickly get into another strong attack. I wanted to look for something. Right. I wanted to change the rotation lag for the light attack, because I feel like it's too much. Okay. Zex? Bro, tomorrow's my exam. I don't know a single chapter. I don't know what I'm going to do. Brother, whip out the book, brother. What are you doing? Whip out the book. Whip out the book and start studying. I don't know what to tell you. Did I change my setup? No, it's just, I don't know, basically the same. We just have panels, acoustic panels in the back. It's already too late and you're doomed. Oh, you know, you could look at it that way if you want to, but play some Tibia instead. Yeah, brother, you might as well just boot up Deadlock and just not even bother, whatever. Except the 0%. Yeah, I like how the light attack is very subtle. It's like a subtle hit. But with groups of enemies, it kind of... You can tell, like, the timing difference between each enemy, which I think is cool. Cool. I think that was a very productive day. We mostly just worked on the hit feedback. I think later this week, I'd like to fix this, adding ending frames to the strong attacks. And then I'd like to get started on the active ragdoll at some point, but that's going to be like a lot of like setup. I'll probably follow this as a beginning system for that, for the enemies. Could feel cool with some chained attacks eventually. Yeah, like we could have if we end up having like groups of enemies like that, like basic enemies that like clump up, it could be interesting where it's like chained attacks could be like an actual gameplay mechanic, not just you chaining an attack, but it's like hit 3 enemies with 1 slash and the last enemy explodes or something. I don't know. I don't know. It's just, you know, maybe we do some shit like that. I don't know. I just work here. Yeah. What's this? I don't know what this is. Obra Dinn? This reminds me of that one kind of like... I don't know if I would say it's a detective game. Is it a detective game, technically? It's like a whole ass development documentary or something. That's interesting. I remember seeing the game. I can recognize the visual art style, but I don't remember what the game actually was. Anyways. Thanks for dropping by, everybody. Good progress. It's feeling good-ish. Better. It's feeling better. Missing some better sound effects. Missing some VFX, like some slash effects or some. I think will do wonders as well. We need our. We need to bring back the Niagara Trail, but I really hate the look of the trail right now. So we're gonna have to change that because I don't like it. Because it just looks really bad with the anim freeze. I think the thing is the Niagara thing keeps printing the trail, even if the animation has been slowed down. And so it creates that really shitty looking effect. So we might have to create our own like custom trail emitter notify. This one here, I think we're gonna have to create our own custom one. To modify how much it's spawning, because it looks really bad currently. So that would be something I'd like to work on, because I do want that trail. It just looks like shit when we hit an enemy, which is not fun. Anyways, I'm gonna go eat my oats and food. What up, Vinny? I apologize to say, I'm sorry to say, I'm hopping out. Good work, Sesh, though. I think I'm gonna work a little bit off stream. Maybe I work on game 2. or game 3. Or I guess game 2. Game 2 currently. Gundam DM'd you a bug I just found an art exhibit, by the way. Okay, I'll take a look into it. Is it like a game-breaking bug? Because I still have to release v1.0.15 or whatever. How many projects do I have cooking right now? Technically 1. But I have an idea for a game that could be good. I randomly came up with the name off the top of my head, and I'm like, that is a catchy name that I really want to use. I'm like, whoa. Maybe if I work on it, you guys may see it in the future. I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes that's all you need. How am I thinking about Gaz so far? It's cool. It you know, it is a lot to learn. There's a lot of new things to take into account. There's a lot of objects. You create a lot of objects. So there's like a lot of files. That's one thing I don't really like too much, but you know, whatever. Could be worse. But yeah. Anyways, thanks for dropping by, everybody. Thanks for lurking, chat, and sticking around. I'll see you guys tomorrow, I think. Yeah. All right. Goodbye.